Well. It looks like we are back for another episode of
These niggas lacking.
Sponsored by not only Judge Whitaker, but Fani Willis and Young Thug. Now, we have some breaking news for you here, courtesy of my guy, Thugger Daily, the #1 source for YSL trial coverage and content. And yes, you're wondering, what is going on? Why are we talking about YSL today? Well, Fani Willis, Simone Hilton, and Adam Abadi just filed a motion to revoke Young Thug's probation. Yes, it is true. And we're actually going to get into the full motion here. They give exhibits. They tell you why exactly they think that Young Thug's probation has been violated and it should be revoked. And of course, Judge Whitaker is the one that's going to be presiding over this. And she gave a stern warning to Young Thug during his plea hearing. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward. Y'all know we're going to report on it here, but let's go ahead and get into the full document. This was just filed today, less than 2 hours ago. So this is breaking news, guys, and it's absolutely amazing. Here we go. The state of Georgia versus Jeffrey Williams. What does it say? The state's motion to revoke probation. Comes now, the state of Georgia by and through undersigned counsel and moves this honorable court to immediately revoke the probation of the defendant, Jeffrey Williams. The defendant has demonstrated a blatant disregard for the law, the safety of witnesses, and the integrity of the judicial proceedings. The state submits that the defendant's continued presence in the community under probationary supervision prevents a clear and present danger to public safety and undermines the rule of law. Now, you probably are wondering, what in the world are they talking about? Here's the story. On October 31st, 2024, defendant Jeffrey Williams was sentenced to probation with conditions that include no contact with the victim and the victim's family. The defendant pled guilty, and the conditions of the probation were imposed pursuant to OCGA 42835, which authorizes courts to establish and enforce conditions necessary to protect the public and uphold the administration of justice. Since sentencing, the defendant has engaged in conduct that directly threatens the safety of witnesses and prosecutors, compromises ongoing legal proceedings, and warrants immediate revocation of probation, escalating threats and witness intimidation. Here are the allegations. Investigator Marissa Viverito is currently testifying in a multi-defendant gang murder preliminary hearing, which remains ongoing and is set to reconvene Monday, April 7th, 2025. And if you haven't heard about that hearing that Viverito is included in, Adrian Love is also as a witness in that hearing as well. We're going to talk about that in another video, so make sure you stay tuned. But during this hearing, the court explicitly ordered that the witnesses not be shown on television while testifying. Despite this order, a known blogger deliberately violated the court's directive by posting on social media. She doesn't want to be shown on screen. Well, here she is, along with a photograph of investigator Viverito. I'll let y'all guess who the blogger was. We're going to mention who it was later. On Tuesday, April 1st, Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, amplified this act by reposting the image with the caption, Marissa Viverito is the biggest liar in the DA's office. This post quickly went viral, amassing over 2 million views. I'm sure Viverito was the one who captured that, with thousands of comments and retweets, many of which included directed threats to investigator Viverito and her family. It seems like this is exactly how the whole YSL RICO trial started, with something like this. It's not looking good for Young Thug, man. Direct threats. As a direct consequence of these social media posts, Viverito's home address and her parents' home address were publicly posted, exposing them to grave danger. See Exhibit A. We'll get into that shortly. One post stated, "If the hate is really real, then pull up on her mama crib." Oh my gosh. Alongside a photograph of her mother's residence. Hours later, an additional post emerged threatening the assassination of District Attorney Fani Willis. The escalation from targeting a testifying witness to making a direct death threat against the elected district attorney of Fulton County is a grave and unprecedented attack on the justice system. Pattern of intimidation and court undermining. This is not an isolated incident. It is a part of a calculated campaign of intimidation, harassment, and misinformation designed to undermine the legal process. Social media has been used as a tool to manipulate public perception, spread misinformation, and instill fear. These efforts have also included attempts to exploit the court's perceived stance of disdain towards the state by referring to Your Honor as YSL Whitaker. Hey, shout out to YSL Whitaker.
These niggas lacking.
They gotta understand. This is a compliment, okay? This is the compliment. Shout out to Judge Whitaker. We know she's doing the good work out there. This ongoing manipulation of public perception through social media is intended to obstruct justice, silence witnesses, and threaten those who enforce the law. What is the legal basis? We don't really care about it, but we'll go through it here shortly. Under OCGA 42834-1, a court may revoke a defendant's probation when they engage in new criminal conduct or violations that threaten public safety. The defendant's continued association with individuals actively involved in witness intimidation, threats of violence, and obstruction of justice continues a clear violation of probation conditions. Do y'all agree?
Stop the cap.
We'll have to see what they're saying here. These actions mirror the established tactics of criminal organizations as defined under 1615-3. Which are designed to instill fear, silence witnesses, and interfere with judicial proceedings. As a direct consequence of these actions, law enforcement resources have been required to provide security in response to the escalating threats and intimidation. So, man, they've got Viverito's family under witness protection. Sheesh. Georgia courts have consistently upheld the revocation of probation for conduct that endangers witnesses, obstructs justice, or threatens public officials. Failure to act decisively will only encourage further attempts to threaten, harass, and intimidate those involved in this case. The state asserts that not addressing this matter directly with the defendant will fail to serve as an adequate deterrent, given the gravity and escalating nature of these threats. Furthermore, as both of the defendants and this court acknowledged during his plea and sentencing, the defendant wields significant influence over people worldwide, amplifying the potential impact of his actions. And we're going to talk about that when we look at Exhibit C. And, you know, unfortunately, they're 1000% correct. Wow. Young Thug. He should have avoided any conversations about Miss Love Viverito. It's just not worth it. Knowing how Fulton County moves, knowing how Fani Willis is, knowing that Viverito is literally stalking these guys. I'm sure she was the one that amassed and was able to collect all of these exhibits. Who else do you think it was? Need for revocation. Here we go. The integrity of this court and the safety of those individuals in the prosecution are at stake. The defendant's probation should be immediately revoked to prevent further harm, ensure compliance with the law, and send a clear message that witness intimidation and threats against the public officials will not be tolerated. The state urges this court to take a swift and decisive action by revoking the defendant's probation and remanding them into custody without delay. Oh, dear God, I hope this does not happen. Wherefore, the state of Georgia respectfully requests that this court schedule a hearing to address immediately, revoke, or modify the defendant's probation as it deems appropriate. Order the defendant to reimburse the costs incurred by law enforcement for the additional protective measures necessitated by their actions. Well, I mean, they can just use his watch. I think Viverito or Fani Willis has it, so they got enough money. And impose any further sanctions necessary to safeguard the witness, prosecutors, and the integrity of the judicial process. And of course, this was submitted today by Fani T. Willis, Simone Hilton, and Adam Abadi. All right, I know y'all want to see it. Let's go ahead and get into these exhibits and see the BS that they're talking about. So, Exhibit A, what do we have? We have a post, and who is in this one? Oh my God. So this was posted, I'm guessing, over on X at some point. And the video says, Viverito's testimony footage, the footage everyone's been waiting for. And this was posted yesterday. All right. This is the post in Exhibit A they're talking about where they said Viverito was not supposed to be shown and allegedly she was shown. I don't know. I didn't watch this, so I have no idea. Then what else do we have here? We have a post that looks like another post over on X. And I saw when Young Thug posted this. This was wild. He said this is the biggest liar in the DA's office. Now, this picture that they're using is publicly available. So I don't think this is going to land with Judge Whitaker. They're saying that this picture that's publicly available and everyone is seeing of Detective Super Investigator, Super Stalker Viverito, it's available to all of us. So I don't think they're going to be able to get away with this one. And then, of course, we've got this picture here. Y'all might remember this one. Thugger Daily, our guy, says, all my homies hate Viverito. I mean, is he lying? I don't think that really shows hate. But the issue they're having here is that Young Thug reposted it. I think he's allowed to hate whoever he wants to, specifically the Super Stalker. And then, of course, the Shade Room reposted this and saying that Young Thug was talking about it. And what did they say? Dumbass used to live at altitude and got my Airbnb shut down. So they're mad at, man, they hate Viverito for real. Mikey Day says, if the hate is real, really real, then pull up on her mama crib. We talked about this and they're showing a picture of her house. This is bad. Don't tell me Young Thug liked this. Okay. Thankfully, Young Thug didn't like this post. Not that I'm seeing, but they're going to say that he's inciting violence, which is what they said. Exhibit B, what do we have? We have here, hopefully y'all can see this. Let me scoot this over. It says, Dave Devil says, I will personally make sure Fani Willis is assassinated. What? And this person laughs about that. Oh, gosh. And then we have this last statement here. And what is this from? Do they say what this is from? But I understand, rap lyrics. I understand how it could be twisted. I understand what it could do to the mind of people. I know what this is. This is from Young Thug's plea. This is when Young Thug was taking his plea. I remember this. I understand, rap lyrics. I understand how it could be twisted. I understand what it could do to the mind of people. I understand all that. And I promise you, I am 100% changing that. It's just, I am older. I'm grown up now, and it's just like, I'm smarter. It's more things to rap about. Like, I have experienced a lot of good things. I experienced more bad things, but I experienced a lot of good things too. And anyway, I could go on forever. Judge Whitaker says, well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you do realize how much of an impact you have on people. I mean, it's past your neighborhood. It's worldwide, especially young people. And having come up from where you came up from and living in and around that, that gangs are damaging to our community. And it may be that a whole lot of rap music and the rap industry is, honestly, it sounds like a modern day version of kind of WWE wrestling that used to be on television, where people would just get up and posture and act like they hated each other. And it may be that that's a lot of what is going on in the music industry with rap. What do y'all think about this? Do Fani Willis, Abadi, and Simone Hilton have enough to be able to get Young Thug's probation revoked? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I pray that Young Thug makes it through this okay. And what I think may happen doesn't happen. I can guarantee. I won't guarantee. I can be sure, in my opinion, that there's going to be a hearing about this. Brian Steele, you're up. Here we go.